I Don't Get It
Podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the I Don't Get It podcast. This is Naz.
And Ashley.
And Lauren.
And we all actually recently read an article in Rolling Stone titled Why COVID-19 Will Inevitably Lead to Breakups. So that was the inspiration behind today's podcast. Basically, we're all stuck and quarantined, and we just thought it was really interesting. The article states that fights tend to follow a predictable pattern. Apparently, one person's more concerned about COVID-19 and the other isn't. So,
No way. Shut up. That's us.
That makes sense.
No way.
wait, why are you guys laughing so hard?
Because, like, in all of our relationships around the world, there is always that one person who is like, did you wash your hands? Did you touch anyone? Did you see anyone?
Jared gives me the daily report, you know? Like, I wake up with a death toll.
That's so true. Jared, I feel like Jared is the most informed about
Oh, he
this.
definitely is. And I'm not, like, belittling him being informed. But, like, if you want to talk about Corona, like, he will go until you stop him.
Yeah. So in the article, this licensed couple and sex therapist said that in her practice, concern over COVID-19 and resulting marital discord over it has completely overtaken her session time. So when she has sessions with people, like when it used to be about money and other things, now this is all it's about. Like one of her clients spent $2,000 on groceries over the past week, causing the partner to become frustrated when they wanted to have a savings built up. And she's like, but now we have all this fucking toilet paper. And then on the reverse side of it, I do want to mention, obviously, this is also bringing couples together. And I'm sure there are a lot of great stories out there, and this is potentially leading to like heightened intimacy. But another article in Bloomberg said that divorce filings started rising at the end of March in China when everyone
Yeah,
emerged.
I saw that. Yeah.
And this guy, Steve Lee at Gentle and Trust Law Firm in China, said that his caseload has increased 25%. So
No way. Now, how long were they quarantined for?
I think, so I don't want to like throw out numbers that aren't right, but
Well, I don't
feel
know
like
if any of the numbers we're getting from
Think
China
like
are right.
February, March, and then the beginning of April they were released.
I want to say that maybe 3 months. Like January is really when I started hearing like rumblings from over there. But anyways, guys, so because of all these reasons, you know, we love to like inquire about relationship stuff. So today we're going to talk to a couple women who have either been broken up with or dumped their boyfriend or just annoyed with their husband, and sort of have them share their stories. So if you guys are going through something similar at home, you won't feel alone. And yeah, we'll get started and we'll call our first person.
All right, let's do it.
All right, guys. So we got Julia on the line. And Julia, the way we found you was on Twitter because you famously tweeted, "Am I the first person to be broken up with via Zoom?"
Dumped via Zoom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, dumped via Zoom. So yes, tell us everything.
Yeah, so I had been dating this guy. This is the worst part. He wasn't even my boyfriend. We had gone out on 3 dates before quarantine. So it was like this weird limbo zone where he wasn't really my boyfriend, but we'd had this like incredible connection. Like all of our dates were like just incredible by any standard. And we texted every day. So we were texting every day for like 2 months is the time frame. And like he had to go away for a wedding the first weekend of March. He was the best man. And so then when he came back, we were like, well, let's self-isolate for 2 weeks because you've just been traveling. And then the 2 weeks came and we were like, well, we probably still shouldn't hang out. I live with my parents. I just moved back home. So that's another fun layer of this. So I'm being particularly careful living with two people in their 60s. And then it just the last week or so, we had a couple of like FaceTime dates and Skype dates. And we FaceTimed and then we Zoomed because the connection was better and technology is weird. We did some Netflix parties. And then like last week, I just sort of like could feel him pulling back a little bit. And instead of being like a good, normal, healthy person where like I let somebody go, I like cling more. And so I was like, you know, texting more and could feel it slipping away.
I could have got him back.
That feeling of slipping away is like the actual worst feeling.
Truly. Well, so then what happened was yesterday he texted me like, hey, are you free to talk? Like one of those.
God damn it.
And,
Oh,
you know,
God, that's horrible.
The worst. So I was like, is everything okay? And he said, yup, everything's fine. Just wanted to check in. And then that threw me for a loop because I was like, if he was going to break up with me, he wouldn't have said everything was fine. Anyway, but he was. So I was pretty sure that he was going to break up with me. So I like emotionally prepared myself and I like put on a smidge of makeup for the call.
This is the world we're living in. We're putting on makeup to get dumped via Zoom.
So then, I was very proud of myself. I like remained very like calm and composed during the call. Basically, what happened is that he was divorced. He got married when he was really young and got divorced last year. He's 29, and realized that I'm the first person he's dated since then. And he like thought he was ready, but he's not, which is like very understandable and fair and reasonable. So he did the right thing, I think, and like it sucks, but I think under the circumstances, this was the best way to have it be done. But it just like sucks. I really liked him, and then I like fired off this tweet, and then like FaceTimed my sister and like started crying on the phone with my sister. And here we are.
Do you think
That's
quarantine had anything to do with this breakup, or was it all about his ex-wife?
Probably a combination of both. I think just like having a little bit more time to like think about things and reflect. And like if we'd been able to go out and like do things and like get to know each other more, I think at least it would have lasted longer, or at least we'd be in like a different spot. But because we were sort of like in this weird quarantine, like treading water zone, like I think that definitely contributed. Like we had all these plans. We had a plan to go on a date to the zoo.
Aww.
Like before this, like the cutest date in the world.
Wasn't a tiger, was it?
No, LA Zoo. LA
I'm
Zoo.
kidding.
Safe.
Well, Julia, I know you're like a writer, so I guess one of our last questions would be like, do you feel like there are other people sort of going through the same situation? And do you think quarantine is somewhat a reason why these new relationships are somewhat sabotaged because you can't really like build on them?
Yeah, to add to that, I wanted to say you write for BuzzFeed, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the tweet must have just been relatable, which is why it was favorited and retweeted so many times. I feel like you're definitely not alone in this being dumped via technology.
Totally. I've gotten like a lot of DMs from people who've like said like, no, it happened to me too. So I like, there's definitely a community out there. I also feel like we had reached the like point in quarantine stories where you were getting all of these like heartwarming like love in the time of Corona. But like obviously shitty things are happening too, and we're now like hitting the point where people are like, no, like
it's really hard to wake up and then have this like the good morning text and then the what are you doing now text, I'm still sitting on my ass text.
Yeah.
Like it gets boring and repetitive, and especially if you're away from the person. I understand how you can be like bored into a breakup almost.
Even like Ashley, I called Ashley and Lauren last week and we like all talked for maybe like 20 minutes. And then we were like, okay, we don't really have anything else to talk about.
Yeah. Nothing has developed in the past month.
Happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's doing anything. There's nothing new to talk about.
That's it. Yeah.
That's why we have to reach out to the friends we haven't talked to in far too long.
I know. Tell me something new.
Great time to catch up. Well, Julia, you're amazing. So sorry for your breakup. I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. But thanks for sharing and reminding everyone they're not the only one.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm a big fan. So.
Oh, thank you. See ya.
Bye.
Hey guys, Naz here. I know some of you have been following my journey on the Sutress that Ashley and Lauren have so kindly put together to help me find my future mate. But I wanted to exclusively admit to you guys right here on the podcast that the Sutress isn't the only way I am choosing to meet other potential partners over this quarantine. The other thing that I am on is OkCupid. And the reason why I'm on OkCupid is because I've genuinely heard from word of mouth, so many people meet people on OkCupid. And I can't express like how much that carries weight. You know, it's not just like I read it in a magazine or an ad. It's like I've genuinely heard people say they've met their partner on OkCupid, which is why I'm so excited they became a sponsor, because OkCupid actually works. And if you didn't know this, it's the most mentioned dating app in the New York Times wedding section. It's also because OkCupid just asks the most thoughtful questions so it can get to know you and what type of person you're looking for. Not like when I feel awkward when I'm like asking guys questions on the Sutress. And what's great about OkCupid is the more questions that you answer yourself on your profile, the better they are at actually matching you with someone you have in common with. So some of my favorite questions that OkCupid can ask you is, do you find intelligence sexier than looks? I think that is very telling on based on what their person's answer is. How do you feel about the 2020 election? Do you listen to podcasts? How do you feel about coffee dates? How do you feel about kids? And because of those questions, I feel like I have such a better chance of matching with someone that's, you know, going to just be in line with my core values. OkCupid is the only app in the world that can match you on a range of issues you care about, on whether or not you're a cat or a dog person to how you feel about climate change. So guys, stop the mindless time on dating apps and go to the app where you get to choose what matters. And guess what? OkCupid is free. So human connection is more important now more than ever. And with OkCupid, you can connect with someone interesting online. You can even plan a virtual date. So download OkCupid today to connect with someone great.
Oh my God.
Lauren, before we... Oh,
Oh
Lauren.
my God.
Before we move on to the next caller, tell us a little bit about the things that are annoying you about Hunter.
Oh, let me see. I don't think there's nothing really annoying. There's nothing I don't know. There's nothing really annoying.
Wait, really? Lauren, what do you mean?
Okay, fine. Well, I'll tell you one thing because I already told him that it annoys me. Every time I go to kiss him, he sticks his tongue out. Like, he sticks his tongue out jokingly. And at first I was like, it's funny. It's cute. But then I realized it was almost every single time. So then I told him, I was like, please put your fucking tongue back in your mouth. and that's something that we have overcome.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. Well, I'll tell...
Ashley, is there anything with you and Jared?
I will tell you guys what is irritating me about Jared after our next caller.
Okay.
Okay, before we call our next person, I do want to say I had a Heartbroken Anonymous meeting last night. I've been doing them every Thursday.
Yeah.
So if you are going through a breakup, guys, go to our website, heartbrokenanonymous.com. But there are so many people going through breakups right now. The meeting was like so incredible. And I can't imagine, like, you know what I mean? Being quarantined while
no
going
outside distractions, no booty
Yeah.
call actions.
or even like friends to come over and
Yeah.
like hug you, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next person we're going to call actually dumped their significant other.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh, another perspective. All right.
All right. We got Ariana on the line. Ariana, tell us about how you broke up with somebody during quarantine.
So I am a licensed social worker, and I'm working in a subacute rehab facility and a nursing home. My boyfriend is a trainer, and he was working in a gym. He obviously, because gyms are closed, is not working as much in the gym, but he's still doing whatever he can virtually on FaceTime and over the phone. So obviously, because I possibly don't have, or I possibly am, exposed to more people, then I don't want to get him sick. And I obviously haven't been seeing him for the past few weeks. So just to be sure, we talk over the phone, we FaceTime, we call, but being so stressed at work, I was coming home and feeling like I wasn't being supported by the relationship. So I did have a conversation with him. I called him and said, I'm stressed at work. I'm coming home. I feel like I'm a little stressed at home too. I need a little bit more from you. I need you to support me some more, And I gave him some examples. I said, you can call me, you can FaceTime me, etc. And what ended up happening was I got a phone call on my way home from work every day, and I commute 45 minutes, which is a very nice gesture to, talk to me on my 45-minute commute, but that's not all that I want. I need a little bit more than that. I need you to go that extra mile and that extra thoughtful thought, and he's a great artist. So like today I talked to him, just have an extra conversation to make sure like we had closure and everything. And I gave him another example, like, you're an artist, like you could have drawn me a picture, like to put a smile on my day, say, I miss you, Venmo me $5 to buy a Starbucks, to get through your day. I had a couple bad days and, he could have left like some cookies on my front steps, just buy me flowers, something like that. And it was a little frustrating that the only thought that he put into it was just a phone call or a FaceTime. So I had a conversation with him the other day, especially because one of the times that he did call me on my way home from work, he wasn't really like actively listening. So I was a little frustrated because you had a great offer to listen to me and be there for me while I'm driving home, but you're distracted playing games on your iPad and listening to music, so you're not really there.
Yeah. Right.
So it was a little frustrating.
So then what happened and how did you end up sort of breaking up with him?
So I basically told myself I was going to give him like 2 weeks since that one conversation where I said I needed more. And if there wasn't really a dramatic difference, then, I really wasn't going to waste my time and my stress, like, and anxiety for something that's not working and he's not meeting my needs. So it came to the 2 week or almost 2 week part. I think actually this weekend would have been 2 weeks. And this week at work was just so stressful. I was working till the 8 p.m. curfew and then, coming home, showering and working till midnight from home. So it was frustrating because like he just wasn't supporting me even through those times. And I didn't even want to finish out the 2 week period.
Did his personality change at all, like before and during quarantine? Like, were these changes of him not being actively listening because of quarantine, or is this always him?
I think this is just him. I don't think he's changed. And he's a great guy. And I think he was a great boyfriend. He just wasn't meeting my needs in a tough time. And I couldn't help but think about the future. Like, what happens if we had kids one day? Like, there's bad things that happen, postpartum depression and, like what happens when somebody in my family close to me dies. Like, COVID is such a big deal right now to everybody. And I mean, knock on wood, it hasn't affected me or my family, thank God. But in the long run, you have to think of the bigger picture and how this could happen again.
How long were you guys together before this?
So only 7 months. But if you think about it, 7 months is a long time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows if he changes now and works on himself now and says, give me a second chance, in 7 more months, is he going to plateau again?
Yeah. I feel like around 7 months is when you get to know the entire person.
Yeah.
Like you see all of their sides. So.
Yeah.
Did you do it? How did you do it? Did you call him or did you do it over Zoom or?
I FaceTimed him. And I did explain to him that ideally this is not how I would have wanted it to go down. But out of respect for him and his family, working in a medical facility with, who knows what's coming in and out, I would feel even worse if I was an asymptomatic carrier and I got him sick, even with a mask and 6 feet away. I don't know what his parents' health issues are like. What if his mom has asthma or, like weaker lungs? Like if he brought it home to them, I would have felt even worse.
Yeah. Right.
So my last question is, do you feel like the situation that we're all living in right now brought all this to light?
I do. I think I told him that too in our conversations. I think our relationship was too comfortable, and this really made me realize the things I was overlooking through that comfortable relationship. Like if our relationship wasn't so comfortable from the get-go, I probably would have seen those things as issues, but because there was that sense of comfortability, like it was just normal and natural and easy. But because there was a hard time, it brought all those little details out, and I was like, I can't do this. This is not what I need, and this is not what I deserve, you know?
Got it. Well, I think it was a good decision not to continue the relationship and not go on just for the sake of breaking up in person or seeing how it'd be on the other side.
Yeah.
All right.
And
thank you for joining us, Ariana. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and for listening.
Of course.
And thanks for giving me that assurance that I made the right decision.
I think you totally did.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I feel like a lot of people, I'm sure this whole lockdown, quarantine, isolating situation, whether you're with the person or by yourself, you know, still with a person, can definitely bring a lot of the things that are sort of hiding under the rug, like come out, you know?
Mm-hmm. A nice stress test for all of our relationships.
Yes.
Yeah, just a lesson learned, don't settle.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks
for joining us.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you, girls. Bye.
Now, on the record, do we feel like she was asking for a bit much, or do we feel no? Okay.
No, it's funny you asked that, because at first I was like, oh, is that a lot to ask for, like a flower or whatever? But you guys know I'm not in relationships. So you can answer this better than I can. But if I was, this is a very stressful time. Like people that have anxiety, it's like amplified. And if I was working every day until 8 p.m. or midnight and I had a boyfriend or husband and I wasn't able to be with him, I would need to feel that love in some sort of way somehow. You know, I would need to feel like they're still by my side. And like, yes, of course, I don't need like flowers all the time or whatever, but I think each person knows what they need to feel supported. And clearly this woman didn't feel supported, you know?
Yeah. So she seems to be a gifts. Her love language is gifts.
Yeah.
And he did not understand that. But I still feel like, I mean, I know I'm supported and loved by Jared, but there are certain things I'm like, well, can you do this? Can you show your love like this? Can you show your love like this? And I tell him all the time, and he still doesn't change. So it's like, you know, I'm just telling her in the long term.
She must have been feeling unsatisfied in other areas other than just not receiving like a couple things.
And it's also, I think it's different, Ash, because you get to actually be with Jared. If you're not with that person and then you're calling them and they're not even listening to you on the phone.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's why she said she was comfortable like the first 6 months. They probably were together all the time, probably going out to eat, probably like everything was fun.
Yeah.
And now that it's like those distractions aren't there, she's realizing who he is and what he can't do when it's just the two of them with just their voices.
It's like, oh, this is your reaction. This is how you're going to be when things get tough.
Yeah. The fact that
it's like a preview.
He couldn't give her like conversation time.
Yeah, he was playing on his phone.
Yeah, when he has plenty of time, so it sounds, to play on his phone and to listen to music and play video games and all that. So.
Hey guys, it is no secret that a lot of us are spending our time at home. So if you're looking for a fun way to pass the time while engaging your brain and enjoying breathtaking visuals and a gripping story, your answer is Best Fiends. So Best Fiends is this app that you can download on your phone, and it is the best fun puzzle game that I have ever played. It's basically a casual game that anyone can play, but it is made for adults, and you can spend as much or as little as time as you'd like in the game. What I love about the game is that I've been matching with people on dating apps or through OkCupid, and I sort of ask them to add me on Best Fiends, and I play with them, and it's sort of a fun way to bond and have, you know, an additional thing to talk about, because let's be real, there's not that much to talk about these days because a lot of us aren't really experiencing many things right now. I love the bright colors and visual style and the design of Best Fiends. It like actually makes me happy when I open it because it's so cute and pretty, and it's a 5-star rated game. And on top of that, they update the game monthly with new levels and events so it never gets old. And they basically treat the game like a service for their players, which is why I love Best Fiends and the company so much. The best part about Best Fiends is that it does not require internet to play. So literally, if you don't want to turn your Wi-Fi on, you guys can play anywhere. And once everything goes back to normal, you're able to play this on the subway and planes. So guys, if you are down to engage your brain with fun puzzles and collect tons of cute characters, trust me, there are over 100 million downloads. This 5-star rated mobile puzzle game is a must play, and you guys can download it for free right now on the Apple App Store or on Google Play. That's Friends without the R, Best Fiends. Happy playing.
All right. Well, we're going to give our next caller a buzz.
Oh, wait. I was going to talk about what Jared was doing that was annoying
okay.
me.
Now, please.
So obviously we've been watching a lot of movies, and Jared has this very weird tendency. It's not a tendency, I guess. It's just like a taste for not speaking at all during movies. Like, he doesn't even let me question things. Like, if I'm feeling a little bit lost in a complicated, like, crime drama, he won't let me say, is that so-and-so's cousin? Like, I just need to, like, keep the storyline straight in my head. And he's like, shh. I'm like,
just answer it.
Just answer the question. And he's like, if it's in
cousin Vinny.
He's like, if it's a crucial enough piece of information for you to need, then you'll figure it out along the way. And I'm like, Jared, I can't even. I'm like, no, I'm going to get so lost. I'm not even going to want to watch it anymore.
What happens if someone's eating popcorn in his ear? Like, what happens if someone stands up at a movie theater? Like, that's probably distracting too for him.
I don't know.
Or
So
has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
He's not a very fun movie watching partner. Like, I'm
and
not
his favorite thing to do is watch
I know,
movies.
Exactly.
So that's great.
I know. It's like when we go to the movies, I'm obviously not going to talk. And I'm also way more zoned in when we're at the movies. But like at home, there's so many things that can get you easily distracted that you may need to ask a question or two. Like if I'm even responding to like one text and I don't press pause, then I may lose like a couple lines of dialogue. And speaking of pressing pause, he doesn't like that either. So I'm not allowed to press pause.
He wants to send his checks in the mail to pay for his electricity and his car insurance, and then he doesn't want to press pause. He wants to run to the bathroom and run back before the commercial breaks over.
Listen, let me just say, I respect Jared's like purist approach to watching, like to want to consume art in like an uninterrupted way. However, I do feel just like how amazing it will be to have a partner because I'll be able to have sex all the time and have him hang things on my wall. I also expect you to explain movie plots to me because that's also a reason why you're there.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, he does so much. Like, he does a great job at like everything else except for carrying me through a movie. That's a little confusing.
Well, that sounds like not a bad relationship.
No. But, you know, that's truly my biggest critique so far of quarantining with Jared and what I've noticed is annoying in quarantine versus what is annoying just in everyday life.
Well, that's actually, I mean, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, good. It's very minuscule. But except for that, it was really weird when he told me not to talk during Seinfeld.
Yeah, that was weird.
Wait, hasn't he seen all episodes of Seinfeld?
Yeah, but apparently he wants to watch those cinematically as well. Like, it's so crazy. I'll be like, can you send me that picture? And he'd be like, next commercial. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Next commercial during Seinfeld for the episode that you've seen? That's like if somebody were to tell me during Sex and the City, can you send me that? And like me being like, no, next commercial during Sex and the City. It's like, I know what's going to happen.
Like, you're not going to look down or away for like 1 second during the entire Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Even big dumping Carrie, you could send a text through because you have it ingrained in your head so well.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'd have to say during the final episode when he saves her in Paris,
you will not be sending a picture.
I may have to wait for a commercial for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when he takes, Petrovsky down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's maybe the only exception. All right. So our next caller is a woman that is married and has kids. And we thought it'd be interesting to have her perspective because I also read an article in the Washington Post that was titled Quarantine Fatherhood because of quarantine, fatherhood is more visible than ever, but will dads working from home actually step up more?
Hey, I've got a question. Is this the girl who inspired the podcast?
I don't know. I was just going to explain. There was a girl that wrote into the Facebook group that said she didn't feel like her other half, her husband, was holding up his end of the bargain now that now that we're all sort of in this lockdown situation. And I don't know if that's the person that Courtney got for us, but she did inspire this podcast. And the article is really interesting if you guys want to read it, because it says statistically women are still doing more of the chores, still doing more of the cooking, and still doing more of taking care of the kids, even though both parents are now fully home now. So I thought it'd be interesting to call someone that's going through this.
Totally. Absolutely. All right, let's give her a buzz. I said buzz for the second time today. Let's give her a call.
All right, guys, we got Lindsay on the phone. Lindsay, tell us about your home life right now.
Oh boy. So since quarantine started, our daycare closed, obviously. And so my husband is still an essential worker. So he's going to work every day. And I am supposed to be working from home. But we also have 3 small children that are 5, 3, and 1. We've got 3 little girls. So I'm getting like very little work done. But basically what happens is I spend all day at home with the kids, and I curse in my head a lot.
Keep giving it. This is the stuff we want. Keep giving it to us.
Yeah, paint the picture.
So I take lots of deep breaths, and I get asked like the most bizarre random questions that probably any mom can relate to. But like, I shit you not, our 1-year-old, she's not walking yet, but she was wearing a diaper around the house the other day, just a diaper, because, this is life right now. And she got the diaper off, and she legit, girls, she handed me a turd.
Yes! Oh my God.
Way.
So that just gives you a little taste of my life. But
your mom.
Anyway, so like all day long, I'm feeling like pressure to get work done, and pressure to like spend enough time with my kids and not neglect them. And then my husband gets home, who he thinks his job is the most stressful job in the world. I can't even imagine what he has to deal with on a day. That's the way he acts when he comes home. And I'm like, you motherfucker, you have no idea the shit that I deal with every single day. So basically it's just like, I don't think he can relate to how I'm feeling. And like, he still, is thinking that I'm going to be able to do everything that I normally do in a day, which is like, normally I'll have like an hour on my lunch to come home and do laundry and like tidy up the house. But when he gets home, this house is just, it's a wreck, and I have no time to do anything other than like keep 3 little kids alive and do a little bit of work, and that's pretty much it. But then, of course, he's a man, and he also expects other things.
And not getting that. No, fuck
way.
Off. No
Really?
way. Fuck off.
Fuck that. Like what? Like what?
You're a lunatic. No, it's just, he thinks that I'm still going to like want to look at him at night.
You're awesome. Give us more examples. Like, I want more pictures.
Of like what I am dealing with the kids, or like
both.
When he gets
the husband and the kids.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well,
I feel like you're the marvelous Mrs. Maisel right now.
Oh yeah, thanks. Hey, I love that too, by the way. Well, I feel like seriously guilt. I think I mentioned that. I just like feel so much guilt for like everything, and like 5 minutes sometimes during the day, I'll like go hide in our bedroom closet and like cry. Sometimes I'll cry, or sometimes I'll just like take those 5 minutes to just like turn my brain off and scroll through Facebook. But it's just been a real stress, and I'm really ready for it to be over. And and then now I'm like, now I feel guilty for even complaining about it, because it's like, oh my gosh, so many people are really, really being affected by this in ways that I'm not, that are really challenging too. But
it's okay. We all need to vent.
But having someone hand a turd to you in your hand is obviously frustrating and annoying, and I totally understand.
And I was just going to say, like, I think it's we appreciate you sharing this so much because another woman shared this in our Facebook group. I don't know if it was you, but I feel like a lot of women around the country are feeling the same way. They're stuck at home. They have a full-time job. They still are like, they don't have a nanny anymore. The nanny can't come, and obviously daycare is closed. And so I feel like it's a very relatable thing to feel during this time. And I think a lot of people are feeling the same way you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know I definitely can relate to any moms out there that are feeling stressed. And, however, I will say there's this one girl I work with who's got, like a 4-year-old daughter who every time we're on a conference call, she's complaining about how her one kid is like too much to handle. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even want to hear you talk about this one kid.
I can't imagine having 3 under 5.
Oh my God. I was going to say praise be, but bless you.
Well, you are the world's best mom. Thank you for coming and sharing that with us. It means a lot to us. And yeah, I'm sure, like I said, a lot of people probably feel the same way you do. So I'm sure you brought some sort of comfort. Just know you probably brought some sort of comfort to other moms out there.
100%.
Yeah, I hope so. We're all in this boat together. All you moms out there are rock stars. So
Absolutely.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, girls. Bye-bye.
Bye.
She was fun.
She was great. This is a great podcast. Do you want to go grab Jared?
Yeah, I'm going to get Jared to complain about me right now.
All right, let's go get Jared.
Jared, what annoys you about me that you didn't know until quarantine?
Something that annoys me about you that I did not know until quarantine. I mean, I already knew this, but your ability to never want alone time. I think during quarantine, it's just, I feel like a jerk sometimes because I just need some time alone just to decompress my thoughts, to play a video game, kind of just do what I need to do. And you just don't desire that. But that's also one of your best qualities because you just love being around your mom and sister and me, and I'm so grateful for that. And I love being around you too all the time, except for like maybe just a couple hours a day, But the thing is, what's frustrating? Because I always feel like I have to defend myself, even though it's just who I am. Like that's just kind of like sometimes I need alone time. Sometimes I need to just like do my own thing. That's how I've always been, and I that's just the way I'm going to continue being. And I feel bad every time we talk about it because you get so sad.
No, I don't.
Well, most of the time.
I don't get sad about you needing alone time.
Every time I leave, you're like, why are you leaving?
Babe, it's like a fake sad. It's like, oh, but I wish you were here with me. Not like...
Yeah, but you never say that. You say it all the time. You're like, oh, don't go. Why are you leaving?
Yeah, no, but I'm not like sad to my soul. It just means that I'd rather you next to me. But if you gotta go, I guess you can go.
Oh, you know what I just realized? Guys don't know about real sad from fake sad.
Really? That's true. I guess you're right.
Real sad,
because I'm just learning that Jared doesn't know the difference as well.
Jared, so women, like real sad is like you get quiet and like you don't know how to like approach it, or you're crying, or you get angry and you yell at the person. Fake sad is like, where are you going?
Exactly.
Why are you
I'm so over trying to figure out the psychology of a woman. It's just like real sad, fake sad. There's all these things that you just need to learn. That, hey, I'm married. I don't need to learn them anymore. I'm kidding. I do need to learn them. I know.
You have a podcast called Help I Suck at Dating, which means that you're supposed to improve your relationship.
Yeah. I guess I should practice what I preach.
Thank you guys for coming on and like sharing how you're dealing with all of it.
Anytime, I'm just downstairs, so I got nothing better to do. Love you all.
Thanks, Jer.
Love you.
Love you.
All right, guys. So we got Catherine on the line. And Catherine, when you wrote in, what I thought was so interesting is you said that you're an attorney who primarily works in family law and juvenile matters, and that all your clients are stressed and several are fighting with their exes, usually because one is taking the virus more seriously than the other. That was sort of the inspiration behind this whole podcast. So can you just elaborate on that a little and then maybe tell us about what your quarantine situation is with your fiance?
Okay. I can't go into too many details for confidentiality purposes, but I will tell you that this virus is stressing out family members and different parents. So you already don't like the other individual, and some people have better co-parenting relationships than others. And what I'm seeing is one parent tends to really want to isolate or really take this seriously. And they're frustrated with the other parent because, you know, they've still been traveling around town and they were traveling to larger cities with more exposure. And I guess everyone, all attorneys in the area are kind of feeling that pressure on how to advise. And at the end of the day, you have a court order. So to the best of your abilities, you need to abide by it. But, you know, they're starting to bicker and nitpick at the little things.
So how difficult is it for parents who are no longer together to be sharing their kids at this time? Is it like the kid usually stays at one parent's and they don't go back and forth?
I'm seeing a little bit of both. Some parents who can reach an agreement are kind of choosing one parent over the other, whether that's because one parent has an underlying health condition where they're at risk for exposure. Other families, they're just really not getting along. I fully anticipate in the next couple weeks, our court systems will start seeing more motions and more hearings just on that issue of where the parents go. At the end of the day, you're going to need a judge to make a determination on where the kids are if you're going to change that order. But you always have the ability to, I guess, choose if you want to change it. And we encourage you working with the other parent to do so. But at the end of the day, I think you might need a judge involved.
So, Catherine, how can you sort of let us into your life, and how do you feel like quarantine, I know you're engaged, has like affected, you know, you being in the house with your significant other all the time? Has it brought you closer, or, you know, has there been, you know, sort of arguments over toilet paper?
No arguments over toilet paper. I think that our daily lives, the daily stressors that we already have, my job, planning for a wedding, I think I wrote in and I mentioned that he chose to leave his employment before this all got started. I think being together, it's sometimes just exacerbated. And that meaning normally we wouldn't be spending all this time together. Normally we wouldn't each have to like go down the rabbit hole of what if this continues and we can't, you know, save enough for the wedding, and what if we've got to cancel the wedding, and what if I get exposed at work, and when is he going to find a job? And so sometimes I know I go down my rabbit hole, and I know at times I think he does. And we kind of live in our own little bubbles, and we don't always connect. Like, I stared at him today going, what do you want to do tonight? Because I was so tired of just sitting on the couch almost mindlessly and not having that connection.
Yeah. I think there's been a lot of time had with couples, but like not a lot of quality time had, because it's like hard to be like, oh, this is date night. Like tonight we're going to actually connect, which is why I put together a little date on our deck for Jared and I last week. We did candlelight, music, and it was cute.
No TV or phones.
No TV, phones, anything like that. And then we tried to have a picnic this week too. I was going to go down to this little area on the Potomac, which is usually like nobody's ever there. But then, of course, people are wanting to go out to the parks now, so they closed the park and we couldn't even find it. But then we ended up having the picnic in our front lawn. So it's just like little gestures like that I'm trying to create, like little moments.
No, that sounds really great. I think we probably need to do more of that. We've started replacing our Thursday evenings where we would have kind of that date night, or that we would normally go out to our local bar and play trivia.
Oh, that's so fun. I want to do that.
Yeah. Yes, it is a lot of fun. But we've kind of tried replacing that with like virtual online Jackbox with some of our friends. And it's not quite, I think, filling the void. But it's at least something. But we definitely probably need to do a little bit more, sit down and have dinner together without the phones.
Yeah. How's your wedding affected by this, if any?
I don't think I know the extent of that yet, since it's still ways out into the fall.
Oh, okay.
I haven't gotten confirmation that my dress is going to be here in time yet, though.
Oh, no.
So that's making me a little nervous. Yeah. I got my original date back in January when it was ordered, and then all of this happened, and I've kind of politely followed up, but I haven't gotten the absolute, it'll be here, you'll be good to go.
You really can't worry about anything until it's over. So like, I know you guys are in your bubbles and you can't plan anything and be like, what if, and go down the rabbit hole. But like, you literally just gotta chill and just like see what happens on the other end.
I was just going to say, I think there's a silver lining, because I feel like there are people that had to reschedule their weddings and now can't get a date until next year. I mean, I was talking to someone who was like, well, I hope he wants to marry me a year from now, because we can't walk down the aisle. So I think this is totally, I'm so glad we had you on, because as being an attorney, you offered a great perspective on people, parents, single parents or divorced parents that are quarantining, and sort of the kids going back and forth, and you being engaged and having a wedding coming up and not being able to plan on it, and people whose weddings. So we can't thank you enough for calling in and just offering that perspective.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm a huge fan. And like I said earlier, this is really surreal.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you
But
so
wait,
much.
Catherine, before you leave, if your fiance wasn't right there next to you, what would you complain about him?
It's not fair.
His cold feet.
That's a
Okay.
good one.
We've been sitting on opposite sides of the couch, and his feet are freezing. And
Put some
always
socks
my
on
leg.
then.
Well, I have slippers that keep them warm, but then they make them stink. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
You're
Oh,
right.
wait. So what's something you would say that Catherine's doing that's
Yeah.
been sort of driving you crazy?
Oh, boy.
I can't really talk a whole lot because I just kind of sit at home anymore. Hey.
Hey.
Thanks for randomly coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. I just think that, I guess, going back to what she said earlier, like the whole, she sits down and is like, what do you want to do tonight? Just with her job, she kind of makes all the decisions for people, or, goes that way. So she kind of wants me to make more decisions. And I just kind of want to make her happy, so I want to leave the decision up to her, and it's just kind of miscommunication.
See,
so.
that's Jared and I.
Yeah,
He's
that's-
like, what do you want to do? I'm like, whatever makes you happy. And then he's like,
But she wants you to take the reins, so it's
Yeah.
difficult. Oh, that's
Yeah.
kind of sweet. It's
Yeah.
kind of a sweet problem.
Well, thank you guys both for coming on and sharing. We hope that you guys are staying safe and sane, and we appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, my dad said that if we can make it, if like relationships can make it through this, then they can make it forever. So forever, I've been so happy loving you. I was gonna say I
Wow.
could spend forever
I've been
loving
so
you,
happy loving you. Okay.
but yeah,
Guys, this
so-
was a fascinating podcast, I will say. I'm really happy we did it, because it's just affecting so many different facets,
yeah.
of
Lauren,
relationship.
before we leave, what would Hunter say is annoying him about you?
Probably that I don't cook anything, and
Does he want you to cook something?
probably and I don't.
Lauren, but you make the best grilled cheese ever. Why
I
don't you
could
make
make a grilled cheese, sure.
You don't do anything around the house? Like, do you help him like
Depends on
clean
my
the
mood.
kitchen?
I'll do the laundry and stuff, but I think probably he would like me to do more.
I will say, as the single voice here,
I was going to say, what would yourself be annoyed with yourself about?
I'm like, I'm so like productive. It's annoying.
That would be a complaint for someone.
You know what I'm saying?
You
Like,
need to marry a Virgo.
I need to?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like
No,
the
I
most
think
determined-
Virgos are. Oh no,
They're
aren't you
high-
a Virgo
They're like the
boy?
hardest working. Yeah,
They're
but
highly
she doesn't.
productive
She
and
doesn't
organized.
represent the
You guys,
Virgo.
the guy that ruined my life was a Virgo. I
See,
don't know.
Oh,
that's-
really?
see, like,
See, that makes
The
sense.
same realm
Yeah.
of organization and drivenness.
I
Drive.
don't know. I think like if I was a person that wasn't like me, I'd be like, Naz, you're so fucking annoying. Like you don't
That's why
need
you-
to like.
That's why you need
Need
somebody
someone.
like you.
Done.
That's Lauren
Yeah,
saying
I
someone like
guess-
you.
That makes sense. Which is a perfect transition to the Sutrist, which we should update our fans on.
Right, you guys. So this past week at the Sutrist, Naz's online Instagram live dating show, which you can watch all the new episodes on Ashley I, Jared H on YouTube. That's our account. We have had 5 suitors so far, and because last week there was only 2 suitors because we can only find 2 qualified humans for Naz to talk to, which is very sad. We have decided that she's not going to make a decision on who she's going to pick until she's had a couple more dates. So at the end of us setting her up on all the dates, you'll find out the 2 other guys that Naz has decided to bring to the finals.
So we'll put an Instagram story out there when we are planning on having an episode of the Sutrist.
Whenever you guys you email us, you email
Lauren, what's going on? Because obviously people are messaging me and they're like, "Oh, isn't there supposed to be one today?" Especially this past weekend. Yeah. So I think it's because guys are chickening out, right?
It's because guys are chickening out, or people are nominating people without like consulting them. Yeah. So when I say, "Hey, we'd love to have him on," then they actually ask him, and then they're like, "Ew, why would you do that?" sort of thing.
Right.
Not an ew, why would you do it? Just like, I don't want to be on an Instagram live dating show. So,
right. So you guys, we need the brothers that are well qualified that you're currently quarantined with. We need them.
Cousins, brothers,
brothers, people that you don't want to touch.
Dads.
You know?
Grandpas, maybe. Yeah. All right. Well, we love you guys. Thanks so much for listening to us. And obviously, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. We hope everyone's staying safe and sane. And we hope your relationship remains intact.
Absolutely. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I don't get it. Podcast.